Hey guys, it's Steve and Melanie back with another episode of Retired and Rewired. And oh my goodness, the last few weeks we have been on the go. Feels pretty good to be back in Indiana though, and enjoy our home. And Melanie, what have we been up to?
Well, just last week we were with Maggie and Terrell, and we had a special anniversary episode. And in that episode, we talked about some of the things that we have focused on in our marriage.
And I got to tell you, those are the 5 things that we wanted to share with everybody, but I think Melanie would agree that I'm not so sure we even have it figured out yet after
It's
33 years.
still a work in progress.
You know, God reveals new things to us every day. We grow, we try to grow each day, and so we hope that these little episodes are an encouragement for all of you to ponder and think and reflect and have conversations with God about how you grow in your personal life.
And we wanted to do a little follow-up to some of the things that we talked about, because two of the things that we've said we have done over the years is tried to be intentional about making sure we never stop adventuring, and also figuring out what it means to live below our means. So we just want to explore that a little bit. God's kind of put on our hearts that would be a good thing for us to really focus on, because in this last trip there were several things that we did that saved us some money.
Indeed they did.
And talk a little more, like we talked about how our adventures build our relationship together. When we talked about our anniversary episode, talk a little bit more about our why behind travel.
Yeah, so whenever we travel, one of the things that started when I was probably in high school, I would say, I opened up National Geographic and there was a picture of Crater Lake. Oh my gosh, Crater Lake is absolutely gorgeous. And I thought to myself, there's no way like a normal everyday person like myself would ever get to go see Crater Lake, but I always had that image in my head. And then as I have grown and I've dug into the Bible, especially Genesis, and how it describes the miraculous creation that we get to explore, I kind of have this desire or this urge to explore God's creation and really see how it unfolded and see what God has gifted us with on our temporary time here on our planet.
And here's what we discovered as we pursued being able to not only experience God's creation, but also share it with our children and all the adventures we've had with them over the years, is understanding that sometimes it's the conversations on the journey that you have with the people with you that become so God-centered and very much a part of the travel, that has caused us to want to continue to travel with that kind of intentionality. And read for us in Deuteronomy what it says about relationship with the people in your family.
Yeah, Deuteronomy says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road and when you lie down and when you get up."
So we have intentionally spent time talking with our kids obviously at home. But one of the things we found over the years is when you're confined in a small space with your family, you can't get away from each other.
And let me tell you, people, there were many times when our kids were growing up that airline travel was not an option.
Right.
You know, mom and dad are not going to fork over thousands of dollars
Right.
just so we can only spend a couple hours in the air. Rather, we would pack everybody up in our little vehicle, in our van or our rental car or whatever it was. And like Melanie said, when you're confined, you tend to talk.
Yes, and so those opportunities, that captive audience that we've had, even with each other over the years, has really led to incredible growth. And so I think that that's part of why we pursue travel, without a doubt. But then there's the reality too, that as two teachers and now as two retired teachers, we aren't just oozing money to be able to travel the way you see some people travel on Instagram. So you have to change your expectations a little bit about what it means to have the journey and not so much be a part of like worrying about what the destination is going to look like, or is it going to live up to what other people are doing, but more so find ways, little travel tips, so to speak, that we have used. And we're going to share a few of those that we used even on this last trip as retired people.
There's a common saying back in Jesus's time that that went something like, may the dust of your rabbi be may you be covered in the dust of your rabbi. And so the idea that you can be a disciple when you travel, and that that can actually bring you closer to God when you're in community with one another. And one of the ways that Melanie has already done that, and if our kids watch this video, I don't know if they'll eye roll or not, but
probably will.
Melanie is the master of discussion cards. But now that I say that, it's Maggie that introduced us to Hygge.
Oh yes,
right? The Hygge cards.
Yeah, right. And when we think about that too, just when you were talking about the let the dust of the rabbi cover you, they were talking about the dust of Jesus. When you think about where Jesus taught, yes, he taught in the places that he ended up in, but he had incredible teachings on the journey along the way.
And Paul did as well.
Yes, exactly. Like, look at all of the messages he penned in transit, so to speak. And so those are kind of our whys, but also we want to just share some very practical things that we did when we were in Dallas. One of the things that I so appreciate about you is your ability to do incrediable research before we leave. So talk a little bit about that.
I do research a lot. And Melanie will ask me a lot of times, what are you looking at? I'm looking at more car rentals, I'm looking at more airlines, looking at how these people traveled, how those people traveled, and so I really like to research.
That's how you found Trusted House Sitters, which we talked about in our last episode. That's how we were able to afford housing for that long in Dallas.
And so, you know, our Trusted House Sitters experience was amazing. We're going to do another one in a couple weeks in Florida and bless another couple who's, I believe, going to visit some family. And so my research allowed us to come across Trusted House Sitters. Another one that I wasn't too sure about was Frontier Airlines. You know, Frontier Airlines a lot of time gets a bad rap as a ultra low cost carrier. You really have to do your research with Frontier Airlines in order to make it very beneficial. And so we paid an upfront fee to become Go Wild members, called the Go Wild Pass, and this one takes a lot of research because you can end up spending more money if you don't do your research. And so basically, Frontier Airlines has a program where if you pay a fee, and when we paid, it was all summer for $199, and then that entitles you to airfare anywhere they fly for a penny. And so
It worked.
and oh my gosh, it did work. You know, it's one of those where we were kind of hesitant. We're kind of naive when it comes to risk taking like that, when it comes to our money. But it worked beautifully. So we flew to Dallas for a penny. We flew back to Indianapolis for a penny. We're getting ready to repeat that process, except down to Miami to see Nathan and Tatiana. And so, again, if you have flexibility and if you have time to do research, that's one way that we were able to save, for us, a lot of money.
And over the years, for our airline travel, because they charge for baggage.
They charge for everything.
Where
you want to sit, when you want to board.
Yes. So we have learned to pack lightly.
Very
and that's
lightly.
something that started a long time ago. We took the kids when they were very young on a trip to Europe. And you'll see a picture of what we packed 3 weeks worth of clothes in, and it's just a tiny little carry-on, and that saves you so much money if you can learn to live minimally while you're traveling. That's huge. That can be another huge way to save money.
It kind of comes back to what you said earlier about I know that way of traveling is not for everybody. You know, you gotta figure out what your expectations are. And figure out how God is going to use you in that travel time, and then plan accordingly. And so Melanie has become incredibly creative in how and what clothes she takes, in where washers and dryers are going to be, and all that kind of stuff that you have to plan ahead for. But we try to minimize that, so we end up with as little luggage as possible.
Also, we try to utilize public transportation at the places that we go to. We took the Silver Line this last time in Dallas, and it was incredible because Maggie and Trail don't have to come get us at the airport. They don't have to sit in the traffic and waste their gas.
Lots of traffic at DFW.
And a ticket out to their little suburb it's only $3.
$3.
And it's beautiful and lovely.
Yeah.
Another thing that we do is we are intentional about trying to find places where we can prepare our own meals. When you eat out all the time when you're traveling, that can really add up, especially with families. We've also, on this last trip, just kind of discovered the beauty of walking. If you can do some urban walking like we did. Now, we did find, and you're going to see a little video, you have to think things through, because we really almost got stuck in Maggie and Terrell's little explain what's happening here.
All right, so we're at Maggie and Terrell's. We're trying to walk to a Kroger, right? We're locked in, we can't get out.
Oh, we just missed one.
Oh, we missed one coming the other way. So they live in this little gated community thing, and there's one right there.
Oh, we better go. Wait,
so
we gotta wait for the car.
We gotta wait the car to go out.
Okay.
And then we're gonna sneak out right after this car.
Okay.
All right.
My heart's pounding.
So here we go. Here we go. We're gonna let this car go through.
All right. Act normal.
This is normal.
I wonder how long we have. Oh, good. He wasn't looking. Oh boy. Now the problem is, once we get out,
we're not sure how we're gonna get back in.
We're not sure how we're gonna get back in. Woo! Right. We're free birds.
We are free birds right there. You guys see that? Oh my gosh, it worked. We're back in the compound, people. Got my food.
We got it.
We got our code.
Here we go.
We're living life.
Complex, so you'll see that. But if you can figure out how to get in and out, if you walk, you also don't overspend on your groceries, because you can only take back what you can carry.
Exactly.
So I guess what we're saying is we really need to think about, if we are desiring to travel and we want to use that as a way to connect with God, connect with creation, connect with the people on our journey, we really need to think about what our expectations are. And living below your means that you lower your expectations for what those things are going to look like and focus more on the journey and the people instead. And I guess that would be our challenge this week for everyone. Think about what it is for you. For us, it's travel. For other people, it may be the cars you drive, or if you're trying to get a new house, the bank will tell you can afford a lot more than what we ended up spending. And so just remembering that it's the people in the house, it's the people in the car that make the most difference, not necessarily the material item.
Yeah, now that being said, if you set your expectations for travel before you travel, then you'll be able to be wise stewards of your money. And so if your bucket list item is to eat at a certain restaurant, eat at that restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
If it's to go on your very first flight, go on that flight, but have those expectations set ahead of time. It will certainly save you later, not just in money, but in stress and frustration. And always keep in mind that it is about the journey. And more importantly, it's about the people who you are with.
And the happiness and contentment you get beyond the riches. And we'll end with Ecclesiastes. Do you have that scripture for us?
I do. In Ecclesiastes, it says, "Those who love money will never have enough. How meaningless to think that wealth brings true happiness.